Yeah.
What up, my boy?
What's good?
My man.
Big dog.
What's up, baby?
What up, dog?
Congratulations. Appreciate it.
Sure. What's up,
Sure.
bro?
How you
Yeah, sir. Chilling.
Bro, I'm still laughing when old boy said you was looking like a black and mild.
He did, though.
Hey.
Said Lil C that had no calf muscles.
Yeah.
For the longest time, though, I'm from the West Coast, so I didn't think I was going to live here, but I love it. Like,
Really?
yeah.
But Jersey different.
Jersey out here is different.
Jersey, yeah, like this more country. So
Yeah.
People, yeah.
Yeah, you got, like, I got deer and turkey in my backyard and, like.
Let me come out there with my.
Yeah, you come out there with a bow. Yeah, them mother be back there.
Light something ass up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, why you always trying to kill something?
That's what I do. That's what country do, man. We want
That's
to.
what Chuck be back there. You be like, let me come in your backyard with a bow. I'm like, nah, okay.
I want to tie something up. Yeah. It's calling culling the stock.
Culling the stock?
You gotta cull them, cause there's so many. You gotta knock down a couple of them, and
That's
then
where the deer are right now. So many like deer they just run around.
So
like,
the dummies, it's a natural selection. So the dummies that can just sit in the field and look around, you shoot their ass, and the smarter, bigger ones will
Continue to grow.
and will mate, and then they gonna make smart big ones, and then cause you gotta knock off the dummies, like sports.
Makes sense.
So like if it was like a people thing, you wouldn't be here no more.
Who, me?
Yeah, you'd be out of here if it was a people thing.
Man, I'm be the man. I'd be skeeting and everything.
Oh, here you go. CC Sabathia, welcome to the show.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless. Niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Hey man, welcome to the Pivot CC, man. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. This is Fred Taylor. This is Channing Crowder. I'm Ryan Clark. Pivot fam, thank you for pivoting with us. Man, first of all, congratulations. Just an illustrious career, man. 19 seasons, Cy Young winner, World Series champion, 6-time All-Stars, 3,000 strikeouts, 250 games won. Just so many milestones that you were able to accomplish throughout your career, which obviously lands you in Cooperstown. Bro, being a kid from Vallejo, California, man, when Jack O'Connell from the Baseball Writers Association calls you and tells you be headed to Cooperstown, what was your first thought?
My real first thought was my dad being super happy. My dad was the one who started me playing baseball. He was a coach before I was born, so he was determined to make me an athlete, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just feel like I lived up to what I was supposed to for him. I felt like that when I first made it to the big leagues, and then I felt like that when I played for the Yankees, and then I got that feeling again, you know, when I got the call to the Hall of Fame, and it was just a real feeling, you know, like you said, being from Vallejo, and the odds of me making it to Cooperstown from there are slim to none. And I think Pedro said it best first. He said, if a kid like me can make it, or a kid like him can make it from the DR, from Vallejo, then anybody literally can make it to the Hall of Fame, and that's how I feel.
Right, but anybody can't make it to the Hall of Fame. I ain't even we be pointing in the next question, bro. No. It's something special. It's something about you, bro. We all watched you. Like, you know what I'm saying? There was something that you did different. There was something that your dad did different. There was something that made you be on the show. Like, to go to the Hall of Fame. What was that when you look back now in retrospect? Little CC and what building up, you know, and being the guy that you are now, a Hall of Famer.
I think just being able to go through adversity, I think just being able to keep going forward, you know, no matter what was happening off the field, in my life, as a kid, whatever, when I got onto the baseball field or the football field or basketball, like that was where I knew what, you know, I could predict the outcome most of the time, especially if I'm on the mound. From the time that I was like 9 years old, I figured out, I was like, oh, this all starts and stops on me. Like, I'm in control of everything, and like, me being the only child and wanting everybody's attention, like, that's a perfect spot for me to be in the middle of the diamond, you know what I'm saying? So, once I figured that out, I just kind of like, just gravitated towards that, and I loved being in those big moments, whether I failed or succeeded, I just wanted to be out there, and that was the way I could perform. You know, if you ever hear like comedians performing in front of their family or rappers performing in front of their family in the living room, that was like my performance. Like all my family was there, all my parents were there, all that stuff. And that was the way I felt like I could perform as a kid.
Right. First off, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Perfect birthday gift, right? But no, I heard you delayed knee surgery.
Yeah.
So you can walk across the stage, right? What does that walk represent for you, and who are you doing it for?
I think the walk represents, for me, I feel like Vallejo, like my hometown, is so rich in like talent and sports history. And like when I was a kid, I only wanted to be just the best for my hometown. Like I went to the high school games as a kid, and I was the ball boy for the football team and all these different things. Like I wanted to be that guy, and to be able to walk across the stage and say I'm from Vallejo, it just, feel like I'll represent the city and all the talent that comes from that city. And I delayed the knee surgery more for golf than.
He said, I'm gonna get this knee surgery when it get cold.
Man, who the fuck get knee surgery in the middle of the summertime? That shit don't make no sense.
That's what old rich guys do.
Yeah,
they play golf a lot.
Yeah, we don't do that. You mentioned your father right away, and I thought that was extremely telling, just based on what he did to get you here in your career, but also he passed when you were relatively young, being 23 years old. And I read somewhere you said you don't feel like you processed it right away. Do you feel like moving forward now you've processed that to a place where now in sharing this moment with him or thinking about him in this moment, you can think about the good things?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you said it perfectly. I never processed him passing away at 23 years old. My oldest son's 21 now. He was just born at the time. And it was just so much going on. Like I was still trying to establish myself as a big leaguer. I was super young. I still needed his guidance. And then I was becoming a father. So I was angry for a long time and just didn't understand what I was going through. And I think that's what led to all the drinking. I mean, I think I had a drinking problem from the start, but I think that's what like pushed me over the edge. And I don't think I ever processed it until I actually went to rehab and had a chance to like sit down, let my brain shut off, and like really honestly try to figure out why I'm drinking so much. And being able to go through that process, go through the grieving process really at 35, 12 years later, and then understand what he meant to me, what he means to me. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my dad. But now, like you said, I can think about him in a good way,
One of the greatest pictures of his era, when he finally realizes he needs help, what's the process of truly coming forward and seeking that help and spending that month in rehab?
It was something that was kind of like boiling over for like 2 years, 3 years. I knew I had a drinking problem. I knew I was destroying my family. I just didn't care because I was more selfish and still worried about how I'm gonna sleep at night or how I'm gonna get to the next day. And I think in 2015, I was just literally tired. I was fed up, like I couldn't stop. And that was the first time where I really realized like, oh, this is a problem. Like I can't stop if I wanted to.
Damn.
And I spent that weekend in Baltimore. We had a rain out, and I spent the weekend in Baltimore drinking nonstop. And I went into the office and talked to Joe Girardi, and Chad Bowling was our mental conditioning coach at the time. And we called Brian Cashman, and they were on board. But the two people that I always give credit to the most is Dylan Betances and Chris Young. I'm forever in debt to them because they knew my struggle and what was going on as a teammate. And I went to them first and told them what was happening. And they both right away was like, you're making the right decision. You're doing the right thing for your family. Don't worry about us. You need to get right. And it was the best decision I could have ever made. And I'm so thankful for everybody that was there in that moment. I'm thankful for my family, my wife, obviously, but the Yankee organization for being able to support me and, my teammates being able to have my back. It was a good moment for me.
And bro, it's something I asked recently to Kirk Franklin, because he said he had a porn addiction, and I was like, a porn addiction? Like, I like looking at naked people too. I like looking at, like, I enjoy porn. Like, what, like an addiction? So for you to say I'm an alcoholic, but I just can't enjoy a couple drinks. Like, what's the difference between, I can go out, I have me a couple glasses of wine with the wife, and now I'm an alcoholic?
No, for me, I was never going out to just have a couple of glasses of wine. Like, every time I was going to get fucked up. Every single time. From the time that I started drinking, though, like at 14, the first time I had a drink, I mean, by the time I was 14, though, I had already been, like, my grandfather passed away, and all these different things. My parents had split up. I'm going through all these different things, and I had a drink, and the very first night I got up, and I was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm at.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is it. And it was from that time until I was 35, so basically 21 years, I never had a drink just with the intentions of it being a good time or I'm just gonna sip this. Like it was always, I'm having 7 to 9 drinks, Long Island's, whatever it was never just, for a good time, it was always get up. Always.
Yeah.
How did you recognize that? Because I drink.
Yeah.
You
No,
know what I'm
I
saying?
didn't.
He stopped drinking.
I didn't know.
We'll have a couple drinks. We'll hang out. We're going to get on the flight. We'll grab us a cocktail.
See,
but
like if we were all together, we were in the airport, and back when I was drinking, and we would go to the bar, have a couple of drinks, like you would have to carry me off the plane. There was no stopping me from getting up at the bar, or I could have missed the flight. You know what I'm saying? Like it was always too far. Like everybody else could go right here. I could never stop. It was always going too far, and it took me forever to recognize that. And yeah, I mean that's why it took me to 35 to be able to go to rehab and say, yo, I need help, and maybe this is something that I can't do. And I think I was drinking, social anxiety, different things. You think you need to show up and be, the light in the room and all these different things. And once I stopped drinking, 1, I have way more fun, and 2, I have more fun socially. I don't have any anxiety going out socially because I'm myself. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm not gonna ruin a night or say something fucked up and, be trying to call and y'all, man, what happened last night? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, real talk.
I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't want to pound away at it too much,
no.
but you mentioned being in Baltimore for it, and you go to Joe Girardi, but you guys have a wild card game the next day, right? And you're in the midst of your career. The team is dependent on you as a leader. How difficult was it to actually say, you know what, I'm gonna go to rehab now, and I'm not gonna hold out?
You know what was crazy? It wasn't, but every moment up until that moment, I had made every decision for baseball. And in that moment, that was the first time I made a decision for my family and myself.
Got it.
During my career. Every other decision I ever made was for baseball, to get better, to do everything on the field. And at that moment was the first time I ever made the decision for my family, for myself, to be a better person. I didn't even hesitate. And like I said, the way my teammates and everybody reacted made me feel like I made the right decision. They could have been like, nah, let's just wait. Let's wait. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's win.
wait until October. No, wait after the playoffs. Then that would have made me feel like I'm hiding it. The biggest thing that helped me and that helps me stay sober is that everybody knows. So if I go to a bar in the airport,
You're being judged immediately.
yeah, some guys like gonna take a picture and be like, oh, I thought you were sober.
Right.
Oh, you do all this work, you know what I'm saying? So the best thing that happened to me is that I didn't have to hide it, and it was public right away, and now everybody knows, and now I'm naked. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm out here, and this is me, and I'm vulnerable, and that's exactly what I needed.
Did that support from the team and organization push that competitiveness within you to not fail through your rehab journey?
Yeah, I felt like I didn't want to let people down, but then there were some people that were like, he's not gonna stay. You know what I mean? Like he'll be there for 2 weeks. We need to prepare for what's gonna happen when he comes out of there, or if he can't make it. And yeah, I mean that kind of like fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here to make myself better. Like I am gonna see this through. And 9 years later, I mean it does feel good. I mean, I'm glad you asked that.
And the last thing on it, is there anything you can share for anybody out there that might be struggling?
I think just to recognize it and not to run from it. Like if you think you have a problem, then you have a problem. And for me, it wasn't like I wanted to wait until something happened. I didn't want to wait until I lost my family or a DUI or something is hit the news. Like everybody rock bottom is different, right? And my rock bottom was me sitting in the room in Baltimore realizing I can't stop drinking this white Hennessy.
Right.
And some people come to that realization, at different times, but if you recognize that, then there's help out there for you. And a lot of people struggle with this. It's a disease. And I always tell people this, like that month in rehab, I feel like as grown men, we should all get like a month off to go, or a week or 2 weeks to go work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? To like reset, a vacation, do whatever. Like we all under so much pressure. Y'all work so much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you ever get a chance to like check in mentally, do different things? So that month was everybody knew where I was at. I didn't have to have my phone, and I was working on myself. It was the best month that I could have spent on myself.
And that's beautiful. You mentioned that every decision you made was a baseball decision. This was the first one for self. When you become a husband and a father, self includes your family. Mm-hmm. And I know that had to be a big piece of it too. You just said, I didn't want to get to the point to where I lost my family. How much did they weigh into the decision as well? And how have you seen yourself change as a father and the husband and your family as a whole since becoming sober?
Yeah, no, I think it was a huge decision. And I don't think I thought about that at the time. I think as I got into rehab and started, doing the work and thinking about myself as a father and the age that my dad, he was 47 when he passed away, and just thinking about how much I still needed him. Right? I was 23 and I got the same age gap from my oldest son, and I'm like, I need to make sure that I'm here, I'm healthy, like my mind is sound to be able to help my son in the struggles that I had through my teens and 20s and all these different things when my pops passed away. So it made a huge impact on me, like making that decision for not only myself, but the way, I can be a father, I can be a husband, I can parent my kids now without being so angry or having the patience now to understand what they're going through. At that time, Lil C was 12 when I went in. Carter would have been 5. So none of them knew I was in alcohol rehab except for Carson. They all just thought I was going to rehab for my knee.
Gotcha.
Because that was something that, they're used to. So he was the only one that kind of had to really live and go through it. But I do think it made me a better father and it gave me a better perspective of what I need to be as a man for my kids going forward and what I missed in my dad,
We all look back as grown men, now we see 22-year-old CC,
Yeah.
and you can see it. Bro, the fame of being the ace, how did that change you? Because I know you, because I know, now with these young pitchers, I want to watch the ace go out there and do it. Bro, you was the ace.
Yeah.
You gonna go out there and boom, boom, boom they ass.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to see it. You just said it, sitting on that mound, the attention that you wanted, now you have. How did that change you to be the center of baseball? Bro, you were the center, I don't want to kiss nobody's ass, bro. You were the center of baseball for years.
I guess it was hard to get used to because I was so young, but I thought that's what I wanted. I thought that's where I was supposed to be. I thought, once I got to be the ace that it was gonna be automatic, that I was gonna, have these games where I go out and pitch well every single time. My, life off the field was gonna be great, and I had to grow through all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I really feel like I always tell people I was born and raised in California, but I kind of grew up in Cleveland. I was there from the time I was 17 till I was 27, so, I had 4 of my kids were there. I got married there. I got robbed. I had some tough times. I got robbed there. My father passed away when we lived there. So I really did some, living and through some trials and tribulations. I figured out how to become that ace and that pitcher through my later 20s. So yeah, it was something I had to grow into, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't have playoff success right away. I wanted to go into the playoffs and be that Pedro or that Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, and go out and throw shutouts, and that didn't happen. I went out in 2007, won the Cy Young during the regular season, and kind of shit the bed in the playoffs. And if I don't, we win the World Series. We're the best team. It was kind of all on me. It was, it was in my court. And then the next year I get traded to Milwaukee, and I get to pitch down the stretch, and I learned from in 07. And then the next year I come here, and I'm down the stretch, and we win the World Series. So I had to kind of grow into what I became.
In Milwaukee, when you were pitching on 3 days' notice often, and Chan mentioned being the ace, you're about to go into free agency, which we know you ended up getting a landmark contract. What was it in you that you did learn in Cleveland, or you learned in the playoffs when you didn't pitch as well, that said, no, if y'all need me to be on the mound, it doesn't matter if I don't have the right amount of time. I'm not looking to see what's going to happen next year. Put the ball in my hand and I can lead you there. What was it about being in Milwaukee for that short stint that made you so sure that's the way you needed to pitch?
I think you said it right, and the question is what I learned in Cleveland. And it was learning to be a good teammate and learning to be there. If I'm available and if I'm able to pitch, I want the ball. When I got traded, I had never played in any other organization. I was scared to death. I cried. I didn't want to go. And Amber she was pregnant at the time. She was like, man, fuck that. Them people want you there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta go somewhere where they want you.
Yeah.
We had this conversation 2 different times in my career. But she was like, you gotta go where them people want you. Like, they called and was like, after I got traded on the Sunday, we're like, hey, you can take a couple days and, wait till you come. And she was like, no, you need to go. So I left on that next day, pitched on Tuesday, then pitched on Sunday. And I felt like as soon as I walked into that clubhouse, I had been there for 15 years. It was Prince Fielder was in there, Ricky Weeks, Mike Cameron. It was so many different guys, Billy Hall. And I was like, oh, this is great. I feel at home. And honestly, I didn't want the season to end. I was healthy, I was available, and everybody was freaking out because they was like, oh, you going to free agency? Why are you pitching so much? That was the only time in my career where I really felt like I knew that I was going to win those games. So I'm like, I'm making myself more money. Like, I need the ball more time so I can show these motherfuckers, like, I can pitch in these big games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not hurting my chances. I'm making more money. So that's all that was. And
I know his agent was like, no.
My agent was going crazy. He was pissed. He wouldn't even come to the game.
75 pitches.
Yeah, he was like, no. And I would go in there and tell them, like, yo, I'm pitching in 3 days. Like, it wasn't the Brewers. It wasn't anybody other than me telling them, like, this is my schedule. This is what I'm doing. And, they were freaking out. Everybody was kind of on edge, but I was like, nah, this is, like, when you're in the zone, this is the only time that I know that I'm going to go out and win these games. Like, I'm taking the ball.
Yeah, that competitive instinct just takes over. Question, your first catcher, still your favorite?
Yeah, and my first catcher was Victor Martinez.
No, I thought your mother was your first.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, she still got to be your favorite.
Nah, that's a great one, yeah.
Right, no,
that's a great one.
I want to talk about her resilience and sacrifice, man, to be able to help, in your journey to get you going.
You know what's crazy about that, Fred, is like my speech is basically about her and all the women in the village of women that raised me from my hometown. Like the first question that you asked, right away I always go to my dad, right? Like that's the first person I think about when I think about my success or think about me being an athlete. But the way my mom raised me and the way the advice that she gave me, the savviness that she had to be able to navigate the shit that we were going through off the field. My parents split up. My mom was trying to figure out a way, for me to continue playing, for a place for us to live. We moved in with her sister, and then my grandfather passed away, and then we ended up moving in with my grandmother, and she was working nights and just trying to figure out, any kind of way for me to be able to play sports. And she was my agent. When I got drafted, we went through the whole agent process and met with every agent from, Scott Boras to whoever else. And she was like, I don't trust anybody. I'm gonna do this deal. So when I got drafted, like, she was the one that called the Indians at the time and, got me my signing bonus. My senior year of high school, everybody wanted me to quit playing football. Nobody wanted me to play basketball because everybody wanted me to focus on the draft. You got a chance to get drafted in the first round. And my mom was like, you've been playing with these boys your whole life. These are your best friends. And if you're really gonna be this baseball player that everybody thinks you're gonna be and you think you're gonna be, this is gonna be your last time playing organized football. Your last time playing basketball with your boys. Go out and have fun. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that she was able to have perspective and give me that advice because, growing up in the situations that we grew up, I had a lot of friends that were probably better athletes than me, but I don't think had the infrastructure or the love and the support from the house that I was getting. So I'm always grateful for my mom, and I always tell her, I'll pick my mom in any lifetime, at any time.
Man, that's awesome.
That's how, how much she's meant to me and as a person and in my career.
You were a multi-sport star. You just mentioned football. You had a scholarship to Cal. Mm-hmm. Bo Jackson, another multi-sport star. What's the story behind the tat?
I mean, growing up in the 80s and 90s, he was the guy, right? But more so for me, just my inspiration. I strive to be a great athlete. Like Bo Jackson was all over every wall, every poster, everything that I ever had. And I wanted to be Bo Jackson.
Right.
Like I really every day left my house going out in the summertime, you know what I'm saying? And that's who I was. So everybody that's on this leg is an inspiration to me, and I don't think that I would be here without them, for sure. This is my cousin who passed away in 2012, but probably the best athlete in my family. Not probably, for sure the best athlete in my family, and who I originally wanted to be. So everybody that I have tatted on this leg is somebody that's a huge inspiration to me, and Bo was, probably number one.
I mean, you got to be tall though. My leg's little, and I'm 5'11". Hey, you got to go both legs.
Fit all that shit in.
You can go get them little baby tattoos.
You gotta get that shit above it.
You gonna have some yearbook
They gonna
pictures.
see their face above. Yeah, baby pictures. You know what I mean?
He said some yearbook pictures.
Hey, see, man. In listening to you talk about your mother, and you mentioned the strong village of women that raised you and sacrificed, for you. I've met you a ton of times. I've seen you a ton of times. And trying to get you on the show, we not texting you. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting you in charge of that. Your wife, Amber, she's an agent, but also she's a massive support system. I don't know how many times you've mentioned her in just decision making as it pertains to your career and your life. What has it meant to you to have a life partner as strong and supportive and loving as she's been?
Man, I think it's the reason why I'm sitting here, I think. I know it's the reason why I was able to have a Hall of Fame career. Being able to have that type of support from somebody from, a young age. We met at 15 and 16 years old. I think she's seen right away kind of what I could be on both sides. So she was always keeping it real from the time that we were young, with the drinking and some of the bad decisions and all these different things. She was right there. And on the other side, the time I got drafted, every contract that I signed, she was right in the middle of all those negotiations. So when it came time for, us to move here, make the decision to come to New York, this is again us having this conversation about you going somewhere where people want you. At the same time, when I got traded, I was nervous to go to Milwaukee. When I came to New York, I had it in my mind that I was gonna play on the West Coast. I grew up in California, grew up in the Bay Area, and I'm like, I wanna play for the Dodgers, I wanna play for San Diego, Anaheim. And the very first day of free agency, the New York Yankees offered me a contract. I'm like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the furthest place away from home. You got all this drama and shit out here. Yeah. I ain't got nowhere to live. I gotta be in Central Park in the city, and people rude and shit. I'm like, this is the worst decision we could ever make. And we go through the whole process, and we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Little C was 5. We had a 3-year-old, and we had a newborn. And she was like, wherever we go, we needed to be our home. We need to plant roots. We need to raise our kids. And I don't give a if it's on the moon. As long as our family is together, we can play anywhere. And when she said that, I was like, all right, that makes, you know what I'm saying? Like, if, that makes sense. Like, and again, she was like, the Yankees want you. You need to go somewhere where you want it. And it made that decision so much easier to be able to come here. And 16, 17 years later, best decision I ever made. But I have to give her a lot of credit and, being there every step of the way and kind of, getting my head out of the weeds and not wanting to come to New York. But having that support system is incredible. And I think my career ends up different if I don't get married young and if I don't have kids super young. I think my career is completely different.
Your wife and my wife, they're friends and all that. I always say get a co-pilot, don't get a passenger.
Yeah.
Because that's what Amber is.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's morbid, but if I go in a coma tomorrow, our kids, our life doesn't change because Asia can run it. Is that a good thing, or what advice would you give to young boys about?
No, that's 100% right. I mean, marry the smartest person you know. You know what I'm saying? That's literally the advice I give everybody when young baseball players. I'm like, yo, marry the smartest girl you know. Somebody that's gonna have your back 100%. And I know, I feel like every decision that we make is for us as a family and for us as our legacy, especially now going forward. Everything that we are doing now is for our kids and hopefully our grandkids and, building that Sabathia name and that legacy.
And they gonna argue now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to give up control. That made my life so much easier. When I stopped trying to control and just was like, just show me where to go. Tell me where to go, tell me where to be, and I'm so much easier now.
Yeah.
It's great. It's so much easier.
CC, you mentioned coming to New York. Obviously, it turned into one of your best decisions ever. But the pressures that came along with coming to play for the Pinstripes, what was that like? Because the city is real crazy.
Yeah, it is. Nah, the city is passionate. You know what I'm saying? And especially for Yankee fans, like, they hold you accountable. They expect you to go out and throw 7, 8 innings every time out. That's what I expect out of myself. So once I figured out nobody can put more pressure on me than I already put on myself, you know, I can figure this out. And I think the biggest thing that people try to do here is come here and, you know, do too much, try to turn into Superman. When you come to the Yankees, especially at the time when I came, if you look around, that team was probably one of the better Yankee teams that was ever assembled. You had A-Rod at third, Jeter at short, Cano at second, Teixeira at first. Like, all you got to do is just not fuck this up. And y'all gonna, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna win pretty much all of the games if you don't go out there and give up 7 runs in 3 innings. So once I figured out, like, oh, it's way less pressure because this team is a lot better than any team I've ever been on, it made it easier just to go out and be myself. And like, you kind of find a pocket where it's also fun to kind of find a pocket where you're not the superstar. Like, everything that happened, they're going straight to Jeter's locker, then they go into A-Rod's locker, then they go into Mo's locker. I'm like the 7th dude on this list.
Right.
Like, this is great. You know what I'm saying? So it became, you know, fun and easy once I kind of figured out, oh, I can be myself and you know, kind of fly under the radar here.
You ever think about the umpire that didn't give you the error, so you didn't get the no-hitter?
Man, you know what? Me and Jason Kendor are still really close. I see him all the time. And we were talking about this the other day. It happened so early in the game in Pittsburgh that I didn't pitch knowing that I was throwing a no-hitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a different thing, going to the 6th, 7th inning, like, oh, he's got a no-hitter. We just thought it was a one-hit game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm going out kind of pitching without the pressures of throwing a no-no. Had it happen later in the game, then we get that kind of build-up, and then I feel like it's more of a no-hitter. So I don't think about that. I don't let that bother me.
But bro, when you out there, like you say, you the man, you're running the game. And back now they got a pitch clock. So
Yeah.
now whatever, but back then, the game don't start till you pitch it.
Yeah.
Like, that gotta be crazy to know that it goes and ends through me. The psychological side of that.
Yeah, like,
Do you have to get used to that as a kid to move up? Because I see these dudes nut up all the time.
I mean, that's something that my high school coach kind of taught me, is that, like, you're in control. Like, if I want to walk around the mound, tie my shoe after every pitch,
little bag.
after every single pitch, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I loved that part of it. Like, I always used to tell Hov, I was around Hov all the time, and like watching him, like from behind, like Rocca Stadium, is like, that's how you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 50,000. I always say it's 50,000 people in the Bronx on a random Tuesday, and this shit don't start until like I'm ready. Like, you know, like, it's 7:05, but I can start this motherfucker at 7:08 if I want to. I can start 7:06. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in control of this whole thing, and I think that was the most appealing part about, you know, pitching in the Bronx and being a starting pitcher in general, but just pitching in the Bronx and having that energy and knowing that it stops and starts on you is incredible.
Are there pitchers that'll pitch better in Milwaukee or in Texas than they will with that pressure? Like, it seems like it's so much. There are very talented, even football-wise, very talented quarterbacks that's gonna nut up. There's very talented people that's gonna nut up. Like, why don't you nut up when you're in them situations?
Because I just explained, but that you have to understand, like, when you play for the Yankees, most times your team is gonna be really good. They're gonna trade. They're gonna, like, go sign whoever they can to make this team be a World Series contending team. So you don't have to do anything other than what you can do. Like when I talk about 2007 and the playoffs in Cleveland, I was trying to go out and have this performance like Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling. Like, I wanted to go out and have this epic performance every single time out. 8 innings, 9 innings, and I didn't need to do that. All I need to do is just go out and do my little part. Go, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, stay in your lane, and if everybody stayed in the lane and do their part, kind of like the same thing on the football field. Like, everybody's got to hit their assignment. Everybody's got to block. Everybody got to do the right thing. And in baseball, it's kind of the same way.
I can give up 3, but they'll get us 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just don't give up fucking 7.
Well, they gonna pull you before that anyway.
Just don't give up 7. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just don't completely it up.
Yeah.
And we gonna win.
You mentioned watching Hov rock a stage. That was like small flex. I just let it go. He's like, I'm behind him. I was like, well, damn. Every time I go to the concert, I'm in the stands, so I'm in front of the people. I never really get to see, but
He's not where I sit.
no, he ain't where I sit either. He ain't where I sit.
He real close.
Yeah, he real close. But the proximity to people like that is part of being in New York. And I think getting an opportunity to sit with people like you and others we've sat with that have accomplished and achieved greatness, it is inspiring. Who are some of those people, man, just like throughout your career or throughout your upbringing that, you mentioned Bo Jackson already, that you looked at for inspiration as to this is the level of excellence you strive to in any walk of life?
Yeah, you know who is a huge one for me is Dave Stewart. He pitched for the A's in the late 80s. He's from Oakland. And at 9 years old, he walked to my Boys and Girls Club. And in the late 80s, early 90s, the percent of black baseball players at its highest. It was like 18%. So every team had 2 or 3 guys. I mean, you guys know we're about the same age. You can look on the TV and you can see a guy that looked like you. So I knew who Dave Stewart was, but the effect that he had on us in that Boys and Girls Club is something that I wanted. And that's the reason why I started my Pitch In Foundation and being in the neighborhood is I just didn't want to be a guy that you seen on TV or this major league pitcher. I wanted to be the guy that you see like Willie Mays in Harlem playing stickball with the kids. That's the effect that kind of Dave Stewart had on me as a kid, and it's the reason why I do all the philanthropy work. And if I can just have one kid come up to me and say what I just said about me, about Dave Stewart, then it's all worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it all worth it. So that's the reason why I'm so visible. That's the reason why I'm in the Bronx Boys and Girls Club, in my hometown, in Cleveland and Milwaukee doing the camps, is because I want to have that effect that Dave Stewart had on me as a 9-year-old.
The game is expensive. I learned that from Channing. His kid is in travel baseball.
Goddamn $350 bats.
And you got to buy one twice a year.
I need to drop 6. Man, that drop 6. Boy, you better go swing that bat.
You know, like looking back, man, like young CC, I'm sure it would be tough for you to have gone through this journey with the way things are. How do we get the current kids that want to go out there and play? What's the process of them being able to afford getting out there so they can live out their dream?
The kid like me, the situation that I grew up in, there's no chance I would make it in today's game. Being a multi-sport athlete, not having the funds to be able to get to a perfect game or whatever tournament, not being able to buy a drop 6, not having the right equipment, not being able to have an outfielder's glove, a first baseman's glove, a pitcher's glove. Like, if you don't have the necessary tools, you feel less than, and you may go off into another sport. So I know 1,000% that would have been me. I would have showed up probably to a tournament, and there would have been kids with bats and gloves and all this different shit, and I show up with my one glove that I played fucking left field, first base, and I'm on the mound with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm using somebody else's bat. Right. Like, so if I don't show up with that stuff, you feel less than, and I'm going to football. I'm going to play basketball, where
That's
my
what
boys
happens.
and my friends are.
Yeah.
We have an organization called the Players Alliance that we started in 2020 that is addressing that. And through that, I feel like we have been doing a great job of just, finding those kids throughout the country that need that support, need that help. When I was still playing, they were telling me that the numbers were dwindling down. We talked about the 18% of black people playing the game when we were kids. It's about 6%. And when I was playing in like 2007, it was like 4%. And, I made a statement. I was like, this is a crisis and, we need to do something about it. And everybody jumped down my throat. And I was just like, maybe kids aren't playing. Maybe black kids ain't playing baseball. And that's not the case. Right. Yeah. They playing it at a high level. We just got to get them the opportunities. And we got to make sure that we are not discouraging the kids that are multi-sport athletes from playing baseball. And I think through the Players Alliance, we are addressing that. But it's something that we all think about. We consciously, are trying to make better, because I feel like a lot of the guys from my generation grew up in my situation, whether it's Gary Sheffield or Kenny Lofton or Jimmy Rollins. We all kind of came out of that same mold, and none of us would make it in today's game.
Being in the major leagues as a Black American, because I see a bunch of Dominicans and I look at them like I look at y'all, and then I say, "What's up, bro?"
And then they talk.
"What's up, bro?" "K?" I say,
But I got a funny story about that.
but tell the story. But even on that, like being a Black American in baseball, and you were in the time when it was. I think we're more progressive now than we were when you played.
Yeah, no. So my first team that I played on, I got drafted. I'm 17 years old. I'm fresh from literally going from high school. Now I'm a pro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they throw you into the fire. Like you go to the minor leagues. So I walk into the locker room, and it's like two dark-skinned dudes over here, and then it's like, the white dudes over here. But then in this corner, it's like 7 dark dudes. I'm like, oh, like, we good. Like, we locked in. So I go straight down there, like, to say what's up, and everybody down there spoke Spanish. It's the first time that I ever met, like, Dominican guys, you know what I'm saying? They kind of look like me. They look like me. They started speaking Spanish, like, Kate, like, and then 2 black dudes grabbed me over there and was like, yeah, nah, you got to come to this corner over here.
It's us 3 now.
It's us 3 now. You stay out of that corner, you stay over here in this corner. But
NFL locker rooms are, what, 80, 90% Black?
Yeah.
MLB locker rooms, like you said, 10% Black Americans.
Yeah.
I don't know, 6% white boys, but then it's a Hispanic dude, so
Yeah.
you're really a minority again.
You are. It made it tough, sometimes to be able to, sometimes I was the only black dude that, in Cleveland, it was just me. In New York, I never had that. It was, it was either me, Derek, Judge came along, whoever else. Like I said, when we were watching the game, it was the number was so high. I feel like it's always been our game. You know what I mean? Like even back to, the Negro League days and Jackie Robinson days, like baseball was Black culture. Like if you look at, Hank Aaron and those boys when they started down in Rickwood and, some of the stuff that we're doing down there, like that's Central baseball and that's Black baseball. And those guys were the LeBron James. Those are the Jalen Hurtses. Satchel Paige is flying around in the 40s with decked out suits and he's got his own plane. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the guys. So it's always been our sport. We just got to figure out a way to get back to our culture, if that makes sense. Like baseball has always been good for Black athletes, hasn't always been great for Black culture. And I think we need to get back to getting back to Black culture. It started in Atlanta with the All-Star game. I don't know if you guys seen any of that. With JD and Ludacris starting it off for us and everything that we kind of did down there, honoring Hank on the home run derby day. I think we're getting back to that.
Did you have some influence in some conversations with that, with your role now and working with them?
Yeah, so we started a group about 4 years ago of ex-players, and it kind of just started with I got a job there in 21. Raul Bani is working with the league. He's one of my favorite teammates, and I'm like, if he's working over there, then it can't be that bad. You know what I'm saying? So I joined and started working with the league and just trying to change the narrative of, players and the league not having a great relationship. And, we started the group, Commissioner Ambassadors Program, and a bunch of those boys I just named, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, Gary Sheffield, Fred McGriff, we're involved at a high level in, trying to change the game, trying to bring the culture back. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that happened in Atlanta, the uniforms, the guys wearing 44 on the home run derby, that was our idea. A lot of the stuff that you see with the hats and, the way that the guys are wearing the uniforms is our idea. We did a big game back in Rickwood, East-West Classic, bringing back a Negro League Classic at the oldest ballpark in America. We did that. We refurbished the field and put it in Willie Mays' name. I mean, the Hank Aaron tribute that you saw after the 6th inning, that was all us. So, we're just trying to change the narrative that players can't work for the league. And, for me, if you just look at that program, it's all my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get a chance to be able, like what you guys are doing. This is all a friendship. You know, I've watched you guys kind of the way this evolved, and it's through friendship. And that's what that program is us having a love for the game, having a love for the players, and through our friendship, trying to make the game better. And it's been a lot of fun to be able to be on that side of it and bring my guys along with me.
So just right now with the involvement, obviously you work with the league. How are you also involved with the union and trying to help things move forward there as well?
Yeah, so you know, having my role with MLB, I'm trying to change the narrative. You know, it always being a fight. You know, the players against the league, and you know, I think you know with the program that I'm putting together, the Commissioner Ambassadors program, we have enough relationships around the league and you know through clubhouses that. If you know Mookie Betts or whoever else sees us working on this side, well, oh, maybe it's not that bad on that side, you know, and I think that's, you know, what we're trying to do, and you know, for me, it's about having legends around the game, you know, the Gary Sheffields matter, you know, Fred McGriffs, they matter, and, you know, suggest that, you know, to have us around is a bad thing, is heartbreaking, you know, and it sucks to, you know, kind of have that narrative out there that we're doing anything for money. I don't know if anybody knows me, but I don't do anything for money. Yeah. You know, I'm doing this to try to help the game, to try to grow the game, and to try to help and change the narrative, you know, throughout the game. And you know, I'm gonna continue to do that. You know, whether the union or whoever else likes it or not, I'm gonna continue to do what I know is right and continue to bring my friends around and give them access to the game that we love.
But you're not involved in negotiations in any way.
No,
correct?
It's not my job.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah, people,
my
I
job,
think that's how people see it.
Yeah, that's how people see it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to change the narrative. That, for me, to see me around, you know, the commissioner and say, oh, he's on this side of this issue or whatever, makes no sense.
Right.
I'm on the side of growing the game and trying to make the game better, and I think everybody in my group is a part of that.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love to read, and so I want to ask you about a book. I think it's called 5 O'Clock Comes Early. Mm-hmm. How did that book sort of change your perspective and outlook on yourself and life going forward?
That book by Bob Welch changed me because I didn't know if I was going to be able to play or pitch without alcohol. That sounds crazy, but it had been so much a part of my routine, so much a part of my life, that I was sitting in rehab like, I don't know if I can pitch without drinking. Like, this is like what I do. Like, I pitch, I drink that night, I drink the next night, drink 3 nights in a row, and then I take 2 nights off. And then, but like, that's like, it's like part of my lifts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so once I read that book and got an understanding of, you know, I have a new routine, one, and, you know, this is what it's gonna take for me to stay sober and stay on the track that I need to. And 2, he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was able to go to rehab and he was able to come back and pitch at a high level. It just gave me the confidence to be able to, the confidence and I guess the will to be able to want to play after coming out of rehab.
I know functioning alcoholics. You know, I have family members who are actually like functioning drug addicts. None of them are going to the Hall of Fame in anything. I'm just being honest. You know, you mentioned just now, it just struck me, you said, I didn't know if I would be able to pitch. I would feel like it's almost the other way around unless the drinking was such a way of life for you. How do you feel you were able to reach such heights with a lifestyle like that?
It was like, I mean, it was just, it was functioning. I was a functioning addict. It was just something, like I said, I had did since I was 14. It was something that I did in high school when, if I felt like it was a big game and I was gonna be nervous, I would drink the night before, just so I could be hungover, so I would know I didn't have to worry about butterflies in my stomach. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how, like, I had figured out how much alcohol could help me at that time. So it was literally just something that was like a part of my life. Like, I started drinking because it would be a bunch of scouts that was coming to my games in my junior year. And I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just get drunk the night before and I can wake up and just go play. I don't have to worry about nothing.
I got it. Do you ever think about, to Ryan's question?
Yeah, like
You
the
throwing
glove.
97
Is the glove blurry?
hung over like you throwing, bro. We done all watched you body ass. And you out there rubbing your face. And, like, did you ever think about, bro, if I wasn't drinking, like what I could do?
I never-
When you stopped, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I didn't. I don't know. I mean, it's the same thing with my weight, right? Like, I was at my biggest, I was like 340. And I never thought about not being that weight. Like, it's just who I was or what I was. Like, I was offensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what I am. So no, I never, and I still don't even think that it would have changed anything. I don't think so, you know?
If you was pushing off that back leg, or you left-handed, so you
Yeah.
can push off this leg, at lighter and not hungover, you could be able to throw faster than.
Yeah.
But the question
for
is,
me,
have you ever thought about it? Is there any regret in it?
No, none. And I think that's what I'm saying, none.
Yeah.
Like zero. I don't like, I mean, for me, like being lighter, like health-wise, like just living longer, yes. Like I was taking care of myself way back then, yes. But like as far as like as an athlete, no. I don't think I missed anything. I don't think it would change anything. But like for life, like just like now, you know, wanting to live longer and be around my grandkids and all of that shit, yeah, I should have been taking care of myself a long time ago.
If he was CC Sabathia that had to go back to Vallejo after 3 years in the minor league, it might be a different thing.
different.
Like he's going to Cooperstown. You know what I mean? I think, you know, a lot of people who have those regrets, it's when you're the hometown hero, the 3-sport star that doesn't make it, you know?
I was always scared of being that too. I was always scared of like letting so that's why when you ask what I'm carrying when I walk across that stage,
Right.
I'm carrying that I didn't let them people down. Being that 3-sport star and being that guy that everybody looked at like I was in the paper at 9, 10 years old. You're on the front of the sports page, you know what I'm saying? And to be able to kind of live that out and carry that out for my hometown, for my dad, for all of, you know, everybody that like threw that on my back, like that's what I'm walking across the stage carrying.
Yeah, I'm stuck in between asking about the movie Vallejo, right? That's gonna go back and follow your childhood, versus asking about, you know, you pivoting throughout your career and changing from the big power thrower and adjusting your stuff to more finesse that created your longevity and obviously landed you in Cooperstown. You can go either direction with either one of those. Which one is most important to you?
I'm super excited about the project, just because, you know, I talk about, you know, my hometown and how unique it was to grow up there. And, you know, I feel like if we did a show or a movie about it, it would be a cross between The Sandlot and Snowfall. You know what I'm saying? Right? No, like, think about, you know, really, really good young black baseball players in the middle of that type of shit going on. Like, I grew up in that 80s, 90s jungle. Like, that's what the middle of what was going on at the park. But we had high-level fucking baseball going on as, like, kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, my 12-year-old All-Star team probably should have went to the Little League World Series. We were just one pitcher short, but, like, best baseball team I've ever been on. You know what I'm saying? And it was all my homeboys, and we were all black. You know what I'm saying? So it would be exciting and fun to be able to kind of tell that story and let people understand how rich, like, the baseball is in my hometown and kind of where I came from and why I play the sport. So, yeah, I would be excited to be able to tell that story. And, you know, going back to me being able to, you know, extend my career, I think that was just being lucky, being able to be in this Yankees organization and I had Mariano Rivera, I had Andy Pettin, I had Billy Connors. And all three of those dudes had mastered the cutter. And, you know, when I was throwing hard, they all were like, hey, you need to think about throwing a cutter. I was like, no, I don't. Like, I fucking throw hard enough. You know what I'm saying? And as I lost my velocity, I started paying more attention, and I couldn't have learned from 3 better guys to understand, you know, how to throw this pitch, when to throw this pitch, how to set it up. and extremely humbled and honored that I was able to extend my career. And it's the only reason I was able to go to Cooperstown is by being able to come in contact with those three men.
It's amazing how the brain takes over when you lose that rawness. We talk about it in football too. The longer you play, you start to lose a little bit of that stuff you really had, but this has to take over.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it's like, man, I wish I was using this when my shit was good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then that's when you see the Patrick Mahomes or whoever else it is.
But you to talk about your 12-year-old team and then to talk about when you had to adjust, is baseball nature or nurture? Because you don't look like a normal, you don't look like them other boys. You bring up Randy Johnson, that bitch was 6'9", and you a big dude, but they got these little dudes out here now that's throwing shit.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but they don't look the part. Is it nature or nurture?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think you can, obviously, I was born with this arm, and I always tell my wife, I was like, I knew I could throw hard when I was young. You know what I'm saying? Throwing the grapefruits. I didn't want to tell that story, but yeah, that's how I knew. I'm sure people tired of hearing me throwing the fucking grapefruits, but that's a true story.
Yeah.
I knew I could throw hard, but there are people that, like you said, that are unassuming. Jose Altuve, one of the best hitters that we've ever seen, probably going to the Hall of Fame, and he's
minuscule.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's fun, and I think baseball is cool in that way that anybody, with enough skill and that can work hard enough can make it to the big leagues.
You have so many special moments. I listed those accolades when you sat down. What's a moment with a teammate or just with the team and environment that stands out to you that was truly special that you got to experience throughout your 19 years?
I think for me, winning the World Series, but I think the biggest moment that was for me having a chance to experience was watching Derek get 3,000 hits. He went 5 for 5 that day. I think he hit a grand slam to get the 3,000 hit, but just the lead up to that, you know what I'm saying? Watching him go through that, being in the Yankee uniform, being his teammate, being close to him, it was incredible to kind of see that, and having my own kind of going for 3,000 strikeouts and having that build up and knowing what that was like. It was fun to see it on both on as a teammate side, like a little brother, and then to go through it, yourself, and then have my guy Dylan Betances do the same thing. He was with me, going through it, and but watching your teammate get a milestone like that, where he's going to the Hall of Fame, is probably the coolest thing.
First baseball jersey I ever owned was a Derek Jeter jersey.
Okay.
I was number 2 my entire life, high school, all that, and I was like, this is perfect. You know what I mean? What was it like to be a teammate or just in that atmosphere, that vicinity with the captain and the New York Yankees?
It was something that was real. You know what I'm saying? You see people wearing the C, or you hear people being the captain and all of that shit, and it's like, is he really a captain? Even outside looking in, when I was in Cleveland, I was like, what is, you know what I'm saying?
He ain't like that.
I don't fucking get it.
That shit cute.
Jeter ain't like that.
But coming here, I get it. I understood. And from day one of spring training, he called me, and like I said, he just lets you be yourself. He lets you fly under the radar. He takes all the heat. Something needs to be said, he will say it. But just one of probably the best teammate I ever had. And leading the way he did by example, and really, he'll stand up and say whatever he needs to say in the clubhouse too. But every single day, he's ready to play and ready to try to win a game. So it was real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Some of it's not real, but his captain, that was real.
I got to ask, this is a personal question. And my son, he obviously doesn't throw like you, but he pitches a little bit.
He will.
But bro, no, because do you have guys? Do you know you got a guy before he walks out the dugout? Is there times in the thing where he just, I done killed his ass so many times, he don't even gonna swing his bat.
And that's what I was saying about those times in Milwaukee. I knew driving to the ballpark, you have no chance to win. I never felt like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm driving to the ballpark, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm winning this game today. You know what I'm saying? There was no butterflies in my stomach. I'm no as soon as the game starts, I'm going 8 innings and we're gonna win this fucking game. Like there have been times, there's times that I feel like that when I'm driving to Yankee Stadium and I'm out of there in the 3rd inning. You know what I'm saying? But that 2 months in Milwaukee is when I knew that, this is my game.
In that window, did you know that you could be a Hall of Famer? When did you know, like, CC means
Man,
something?
I never, ever thought about me going to the Hall of Fame until I think it was like 2013 or 14. I got into it with an umpire like I always do. And I was sitting on the bench next to one of my teammates, and he said something about like, how you gonna do that to a Hall of Famer? And I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But like, that was the first time I had ever even realized that people thought of me like that.
Yeah.
Like I had never even, never crossed my mind. Like never ever crossed my mind until I was sitting next to Ben Francisco and he like just said that in passing. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I never considered myself a Hall of Famer.
All right. Throughout your journey, though, man, from Vallejo to the bigs, finding success, finding struggle, finding growth, what's been your biggest pivot or your greatest pivot?
I think my greatest pivot is just understanding myself, I guess, processing everything that kind of happened to me young and being able to apply that as a grown man and become a better father, become a better husband, because I was on the track of, losing everything. I think in, October of 2015 was my greatest pivot, being able to stop drinking and turn my life around.
And this is just a pure question because I need education as a fan, right? And you seem to love baseball.
I do love baseball. I love sports in general, but I love baseball.
And Chan was talking about pitching. I got to watch Paul Skeens. I went to LSU.
Yeah.
When there's a young dude like him who's at the Pirates, and I played in Pittsburgh, it's not the greatest run support, but when you watch someone like him, does that bring you joy that the game is in hands of guys like the Skeens and the Shohei Ohtanis and all of these people you're still advocating for while trying to build it up more for people like us too?
Yeah, no, it's incredible to watch. Not only one like Skeens do what he did in the big leagues, but do what he did at LSU.
Yeah.
I think, more kids, especially more black kids, need to know that that's a route that you can take. That's an avenue that you can take. Mike Braswell was on that team. So many different guys that you can name. I love the fact that he's able to take that success from the College World Series, LSU, and then bring that right into the big leagues. Like you said, it's tough getting the run support with the Pirates.
Yeah.
But it's incredible to watch him. He's 2 years into his big league career. He started the All-Star game twice.
Yep.
He's probably he's going to be one of the greatest talents that we've seen in a long time. And our game is in a great spot. It is. We just need more players involved, helping the league, figure out how to, build this culture up and build these moments up. And
Just you bring up Shohei, who's an ace, and raking. Mm-hmm. Your big ass wasn't raking.
Hey, you hit a home of a Chano Park, though.
Yeah, I did.
You got Chano Park.
I said you brought up Shohei. I'm
like 20
looking
years too late. I might have been like 20 years too late.
Hey, you got a Chano Park. He got what? Oh man. So I guess my last thing is, will they call you Karsten Charles Sabathia when you walk across the stage?
I hope so. I hope
So
it's
you can get
Carson
that.
Charles. Yeah. And again, to honor my father, my son will be there. He's Carson Charles. So yeah, I'm gonna be walking across with that man on my back. So yeah, I hope they do call me Carson Charles.
Man, thank you for your time, bro. This was absolutely amazing, man. We appreciate you, and just congrats again, dog.
yeah.
I think it's amazing that not only you had the playing career that you had, but now in becoming the person that you are, you share your story, but you also give back by being present in many places where they don't get to see people like you. Appreciate you.
Well, let's go grab a drink.
Let's do it.
Congrats again.
Oh, wait for you to say it.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up.